Hello, Internet. Welcome to Comic Book Talks for the week of February 26, 2014. So yeah, I'm going to be doing these probably sooner than I usually do them because I'm actually reading my books in the morning this time around. And yeah, I'm just going to do what I've been doing for the format that I've been using for the last however many videos, where I just take the top 3 books, or I guess like if they're not like super spoilery or like really into a story arc and I haven't talked about it for a while, that I can just like get into and talk about. So the first book being this week I'm going to talk about is Guardians of the Galaxy number 12. So this is the trial of Jean Grey part 4. I believe I covered part at least 3 and 2. I'm not sure about part. I don't know. I know I've covered this before in the comic book talks, but yeah, we pick up where Cyclops has just met his dad in the last issue. And then this issue, he's like basically freaking out because he has like this flashback to when like his parents strapped him and his brother into the parachute and like sent him off into like Alaska, like the only parachute in the plane. And like as they're parachuting down, they see the plane explode, and then Scott like awakens from this dream sequence, and he's like they're just like freaking out. And then it's funny because like the last issue of I'm not sure if it was Guardians or All New X-Men, but you had like Scott, in another, he like there's Jean there, but then he woke up and like there's all the Guardians of the Galaxy around him, and he's like, what the F's going on? Like there's all these aliens here. This thing, it's like the same thing. It's like, he wakes up, except it's like the Guardians of the Galaxy are there, and then there's like part of Corsair's crew, and then X-Men are there too. So it's just like he wakes up with all these weird people around him again, and then he just like has a conversation. Actually, no, there's nothing yet. It skips to let's see where we at. the planet Spartax, and then you have King Jason. Some dude is talking to him about there's a situation going down. Well, they were already discussing the Galactic Council in like a couple issues ago in Guardians of the Galaxy when Gladiator was like, okay, dudes, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna bring this Earth Girl on trial, blah blah blah. Even though she kind of didn't technically commit the crime, whatever, justice will be served. And then you have this advisor coming to King Jason, and he's like, so the Shi'ar, they went and they got the Earth Girl from Earth. So just telling you so you could know there might be some blowback because your son's kind of involved in it because he went after them. So yeah. And then Jason's just like, I was gonna look the other way. I was just gonna let this slide because I told I told these idiots in the Galactic Council, nobody touches Earth, but nobody's listening to me. So it's like, I have a headache. I need to take an Excedrin and just this is happening again. Like he's like, it's always my son. It's like my son's always in the middle of things. Why is this happening to me? And so that happens, and then we go to the Shi'ar Throne World, and we have the Shi'ar Imperial Guard training, and they're talking about the trial that's about to happen. And then Gladiator is basically just trying to like defend his case for why he's trying to bring Jean Grey to trial, and putting her on the tribunal to be judged and whatnot. And then Oracle's like, dude, I know you're wrong. I can I'm like in your mind, and like even you're doubting what you're saying, and then without using my powers of mental telepathy, it's like I just look at your face and like you're the guilt is just there of like, why are you doing this? It's wrong. And then we go back to the Starjammer and the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, and Scott and his dad are sitting there talking, or Scott and Corsair, Cyclops and Corsair are sitting there talking about stuff. And how he did eventually meet his future self, or his older self. They keep calling him like older self, or the older you. Like whenever they refer to current Cyclops, it's funny when they do that. But yeah, he's like, so you and me, we did eventually meet in that timeline and like have a discussion and whatnot and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah. And he's like, so we're good and everything. He's like, yeah. And then. And then he asks, and then like he tells him about how he had like had some adventures with Havoc, his brother, and then Cyclops was like, oh well, what happened to my mom? Because he never like said that, but his mom died, so yeah. his dad doesn't say anything, and then he has to like go off and like it's kind of sad. He's like I need a minute, and like he just goes off and cries. Well, he doesn't go off and cry, but like he walks off alone, and then like X-23 comes in after him, and then she's like, "Are you okay, Scott?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then the text bubbles all like sniff, sniff, sniff. So he's like crying on. It's really sad scene. It's like, oh, poor Cyclops. And then it's funny because X-23 is like, I don't usually do this, but you seem to need one of these. And then she gives him a hug. That was pretty. That's nice. I thought that was very heartwarming. And then we go back to Jean Grey and Oracle, and it's the same place that they've had this discussion in, but it's not an actual physical place because Jean Grey's like, "Oh, you're in my mind. You're in my mind, right?" Because they're having this whole psychic discussion thing since they're both telepaths. And then Oracle's just trying to prep her for the trial and be like, "Yeah, they're gonna try to shake you up. Don't get too emotional. The Shi'ar don't like that. Just some tips on when you're being questioned or giving testimony. Like, do not do this or do this way." And she's like, watch your temper, because I know you have a temper, and don't get too emotional, because you humans, you Earthers, man. And then, of course, it ends with Jean flipping out and getting angry and being like, "I'm innocent, And then Oracle's just like, "Yeah, that's not what you want to do, so don't do that." And then she's in like the weird blue sphere bubble thing she was in like the last issue, or last two issues, or however many, when they brought her to the Shi'ar homeworld. When Oracle first met her, and then she sees some light, and then it's like, okay, court in session, and Gladiator's there, and like there's a bunch of Shi'ar, and he's like, "Yeah, we are here for the most important of decisions, and arguments will be heard, blah 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 blah, we're putting you on trial, Jean Grey, blah blah blah." And then we go back to the Guardians and the Space Pirates and the X-Men in deep space right outside or inside the Shi'ar Empire. And then you have Star-Lord, Peter Quill, and Kitty Pryde have this conversation, and she's like, "So you're just out here in space? You guys don't have like a home or anything? You just drift around? Like you don't actually have like a home, like HQ base thing going on?" And he's like, "No, just it's a different way of life. We just drift around and stuff." And yeah, they have a conversation about stuff. Nothing important. Nothing important, really. Let's see. And then, okay, they get to the Shi'ar homeworld where they're, putting Jean Grey on trial, and they see all these Shi'ar ships, like, parked outside, and they're like, "Oh, dudes, like, how are we gonna get in there?" Then they're like, "Oh, what do you expect? I mean, you're just gonna roll in and bust her out. That's not how that works." So and they're like, "Well, our cloaking fields are pretty good, but they're probably not that good. So yeah." And they're all trying to like hatch a plan how to get in there, save Jean Grey, save the day. And then it has Gladiator, and he plays basically a recording of like what happened when the Phoenix blew up a planet, and then proceeded to like kill the crew of this ship. And Jean Grey's there watching, and then he like turns to her and he's like, "Okay, Arthur, Jean Grey, what say you? How do you plead?" And then it's like, "Oh, dun dun dun, to be continued." But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, that was number 12, and then that's the Trial of Jean Grey part 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I said that already. So there's 6 parts. So part 5 will be in All New X-Men next issue, and then it'll finish off in Guardians of the Galaxy number 13. So I was actually going to drop I think I said this before, but I was actually going to drop Guardians of the Galaxy from my pull list. So this might get me back in. I'm going to see where it goes after the Child of Jean Grey thing, because I wasn't really enjoying the art like during the Infinity tie-ins. I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" Like it wasn't as good. But after the Infinity tie-ins, it got it wasn't to a style of my liking. It wasn't bad. It was just like I didn't like the style that it was in, because it was like this, like before it was Sarah Pichelli on art, and then it was really good. And then Infinity came, and then it was different. And I was like, "What's this?" But then it was back from Infinity, and now it's back to being awesome because Sarah Pichelli's back on it. So it's like, okay, well, now that she's back on the art, we'll see where it goes, and if the story's getting any better. Because it's weird, because like it was so weird, because like in Infinity, like you find out where Thanos is and whatever, But then you have the Guardians of the Galaxy who are looking for Thanos, but I guess they never got that. Well, of course they're not going to get the intel because the Illuminati have them in like their in the Necro, whatever, where Black Panther's Kingdom of the Dead or whatever. But yeah, so we'll see. But yeah. I mean, it's been like pretty fun. Like you had like Gamora and Angela team up to take down some slavers, and then you had Guardians or the Let's Go Rescue Jean Grey. But I hope there'd be something like more substantial because there was like a shapeshifter that tried to kill Peter Quill, and there was like a shapeshifter before, but I'm not sure if it's the same shapeshifter. Was it shapeshifter? I don't know. Cause like there was like a bar scene where like Peter Quill almost got taken out when they were all getting drunk, back when Iron Man was on the team. I'm not sure. I don't think it was the same character or whatever. I don't think it was because it was a Skrull because he actually killed her. That was pretty cool because Angela just like cuts her head off. It's like holy crap, it's a Skrull. That was a cool part because it was like it was Gamora, but she was like dressed as like old Gamora and not new Gamora with like the weird boobed out outfit. But I'm rambling right now, so that's completely not related to Guardians of the Galaxy. Today's issue number 12. But yeah, that's what I read. And I already read Uncanny Avengers. I'm not going to give my impressions on it because it's like, if you haven't been reading it, I'm not even going to, like, I can't even talk about it because it's super spoilery. Like, everything is just, like, coming to a head, things wrap up, and it's like, holy crap, Reminder did it. I can't believe he did it, but he did it. It's like, oh, dude, did he go there? He totally went there, so that was awesome. That was the first book I read. That was the top of my stack. And, so I have Thunderbolts, Wolverine and the X-Men, and Mass Effect Foundation. I think I will probably not read Thunderbolts because it is like a second part of a story arc, whereas Wolverine and the X-Men is just wrapping up the series. So I'll read that next, and then Mass Effect Foundations, and then I'll read Thunderbolts too, but I won't be giving my impressions on it. But those are the next two. I'm sorry. Those are the next two I'll be doing, and then I'm done. So I'll be doing Wolverine and the X-Men next, and then after that I'll be doing Mass Effect Foundation at number 8, which has Thane in it. Ooh, so that'll be cool. It's weird though. I thought number 7 was gonna have Morden in it, but it didn't. So I was kind of sad. It had Jack. Well, I mean Jack is cool too. I was just like, Morden's one of my favorite characters. But yeah, this issue has Thane in it, so we'll see what's up with that. And yeah, I'll be back on the other side of this video talking about what I thought about Wolverine and the X-Men. Alright, so I'm back. I just read Wolverine and the X-Men number 42. Pretty good send-off. So yeah, the cover's pretty cool because it's like an homage to Days of the Future Past. It's got Wolverine and Storm, and then it has like all the new students, or the students rather, on the like posters where it has like people that have whatever. You'll understand when you see it anyway. This issue is pretty interesting. Like it basically just like jumps back and forth between like the present and the future. Because it starts off in the future, and you have Wolverine, and he's like, "Oh, it's a sad day," and I guess it was only a matter of time before I had to shut the school down. And he's basically just being very old and crotchety, and just cantankerous. Just going from like just walking throughout the school, and Ivy's with him, and he's like, "Oh, I can't believe all the things we did, blah, 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 blah. But I guess, it had to end sometime." He's just being, like, very negative. And now he's like, well, we had fun times, man. It was like, you helped so many of us back in the day. And then goes back into the present, and then you have the graduation day for graduating students It's weird because there's just an issue a couple, like, issues ago of, like, graduation. So I'm confused exactly what they're graduating to or from. Because it seemed like some of the students were, like, getting, like, just graduating into the next class, and some of them were, like, graduating from the school. I was kind of confused, but whatever. So, yeah, graduation day. And then, Quencar is like, oh, like, how did this happen? Like, I used to be, like, way more awesome, and now I'm just, like, Mr. Popular and class president. Like, how did that happen? And then you just have basically a bunch of people coming in, our characters, and it's like, this person, that person, and they're all like, oh man, you're graduating, or just a bunch, like, it's just like a just big celebration, pretty much. 'Cause you have like Phantom X, Abigail Brand, Brew, Kid Apocalypse, or Evan. No, his name is Genesis. Yeah, Genesis Evan, whatever. Hope is there, and she's like, "Oh, Heidi, you're graduating! Congratulations!" That's pretty cool. And then, yeah. Anyway, moving on, and then like Quentin Quire's like sitting over in a corner all alone, and then Captain America walks over and he's like, "Captain America, what are you doing here?" And he like gives him this talk about, I had my doubts about this place, and I definitely had my doubts about you, but it's good to see I was wrong and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. And then goes back into the future. Actually, before that happens, Wolverine's like, "Oh, Quentin, here's your diploma. Get up here," because he's kind of freaking out. Like he's like, "Oh man," like I don't know. It's hard to put into words. He's just like having this like moment. And he's just like he's like blanking. It's really weird. Goes back into the future. And then you have Heidi and Wolverine there, and they're just like walking from room to room, shutting down the school. And Wolverine's just like going over, like, man, the Beast was so crazy when he built this place. I can't believe it didn't kill us, blah, blah, blah. And all the rooms have to go through to like shut everything off and get all the BAMFs and clean out all the stuff. And then Heidi gets like a message, a message pretty much on her phone, because it goes off, and then it's Shark Girl. She's called Shark Woman now, so Shark Woman and Eye Boy, and then like they call her, and apparently the the snot character from the Hellfire Club or Hellfire Academy is like leading the new Brotherhood, I guess, and he's like on a rampage, and they're trying to stop him, so she has to go and do that. So she grabs a BAMF and she's like, "Okay, get me to where's that? Somewhere in Africa, East Africa." And she like grabs the BAMF and like teleports away. And then Wolverine goes into his headmaster's office, and like him and the BAMFs are all about to have a drink. He's like, "Here's to the junior school. Here's to the joys of education." And right, like before he can even so he doesn't even like get to like drink his drink that he's about to drink, that he's toasting with the BAMFs. And there's just this giant boom, and then he's like, "What the F?" Oh wait, one more thing before I continue. It's like, it's cool too, like what in this issue is like, each section in the story is like, it seems like it's drawn by different persons. That's pretty cool. But yeah, continuing on, like after that happens, it's funny because he opens the door and he's like trying to pop his claws, but he's like so old, and he's like, "Ugh, I'm trying to pop my claws, but these days it takes a few minutes for him to completely pop out." So that was pretty funny. And then he turns the corner, and it's Kid Omega there. But if you read Battle of the Atom, you saw that Kid Omega in the future becomes Phoenix. So it's Phoenix Kid Omega. And he's like, I had to see this for myself. And then it goes back to the present, and you have Kid Omega and Wolverine talking about, "I can't believe you actually, got the diploma, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think you were going to do it, but you showed me wrong, and, whatever." It's like, it's not so bad to grow up and, be successful, Quentin. Don't, then you really realize how great you are, or whatever. And then, just some more, everybody congratulating everybody else about graduating and whatnot. And then Storm and Wolverine. And then she's like, "You're Professor Logan now. Stop trying to be Weapon X." Well, she says, like, "Weapon X is dead. Long live Professor Logan." That's a pretty cool line, because, Wolverine's like trying to like sneak off and like find an excuse to like go do something. And she's like, "There's plenty of Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy and whatnot and X-Men on duty who can like handle all that stuff. Now it's time to just enjoy being the headmaster." And then we go back to the future, and then you have Kid Omega and Wolverine walking through the school, and they're just talking about stuff. And it's funny because like Kid Omega's just like repping it in about like, "Yeah, this place is going to run out of steam. It was only a matter of time." It was pretty funny. And then he's about to leave, and he's like, "Oh, one more thing," and like he snaps his fingers, and then the door opens to the school, and there's a bunch of bizarrely looking alien, I would say, in nature mutants that come in, and he's like, "Yeah, the Future Foundation, they wanted to know if you could have their excess students. There's only like 2 million. and it just like shows this panel where they're all just like flowing like into the school from like way far away, which is pretty funny. and then like, you know, Wolverine's like, "Quiet, don't you dare, you," and then before he can like finish his sentence, he just like disappears and like teleports away. But then Wolverine's like, "Thank you," you know, and he's like, "All right, line up for registration," and then the school's back open. So, you know, you think the school's gonna close, but it doesn't close because it stays open because the dream never dies. So yeah, and then I'm confused on this. I think this is in the future, but you have I don't know. Is it in the present? It has to be in the future. I don't know. It might be in the present though, because Dupe's there. I don't know though. Present or future scene? You have Master Pandemonium and Swarm, and they're like, "All right, let's get Wolverine while he's in the sleep or whatever." But then Dupe's there, and he like plays this guitar or bass, I'm not sure, and just like, you know, beats them down with the sound of funk. It's pretty funny. And you don't know what he's saying, so I have no idea what he's saying. But yeah. And then you have this funny epilogue scene where it's basically Kid Omega wakes up. He's like, "No, it wasn't a dream," because he sees his diploma right there because he thought it was a dream, but it wasn't. And then you have the next scene, and it's Wolverine, and he pops his claws, and he's like, "Snicked." And then he's like, "Wow, I went a whole day without doing that. Huh. Ain't that something?" And that's pretty much it. And it's like the end. You know, the Bamps with some whiskey. Still in a way like they've been doing for like however long they've been doing it, just still in his whiskey. And then it's like the end, and then it's like Wolverine and X-Men #1 relaunching with a different creative team. So I'll be checking it out. I've enjoyed Wolverine and X-Men since I've been reading it, so I'll definitely be checking it out. And it's cool because like in the preview panel, it has like a thing of like future Evan Genesis and future Kid Omega stuff, so we'll see if like they'll have more stories that are like from the future to see what happens. But I agree. I guess like just glimpses into the future, it's probably just like glimpses into the future as well as like modern stuff. And I'm not sure if it's Dog there, but it's like some Bamps are like latching onto some dude. You have some Phantom X stuff going on. Storm's there. ID and Equine Inquirer. Wolverine, of course. Dupe. What's that guy's name? Rockslide? Or is it Rockslide? But yeah, anyway. X-Men and stuff, and it's like, yeah, #1 relaunching. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for Wolverine and the X-Men #42, the final issue. And I can finally check out the back issues, because I was only reading this since, let's see, I started reading like number either 30-something or 20-something. I think it was in the 30s. Let me see, hold on. Let me check this. Because I only jumped on and at Marvel now, or after Marvel. Oh wow, number 19. So I've been reading since issue 19 and up. Doesn't seem like it's been that many issues though. That's crazy. Oh, I know what it was. Is like I didn't jump on an issue number 19. I jumped on an issue like it was after 19, but I read a bunch of back issues because there's no way I read this every month that long, did I? No, I'd say 25, the Savage Land issue. I think that was the first one I read. And then I read the ones that, yeah, let's see. 25 was when I jumped on, and then I read from, have I read all those back issues? Yeah, I read all those back issues. Like 19 and up I've read, but I didn't read them. I didn't start reading at number 19. I just went back and read them because they were all in the, with like the red banners on the bottom on Comixology, so I could like tell that it was like in the Marvel Now times. But I didn't actually start reading it until number 25. I guess you could actually go back to my comic talks of like whatever. And then that's like one of the first books I talked about anyway was Savage Land, so I think. But oh wait, no, it wasn't. Yeah, because it was the Savage Land because like they went back in time, or not they went, or the dog came back with all the future technology and the henchmen from other eras. But yeah, I very much enjoyed Wolverine and X-Men of what I've read, so I'm looking forward to more of it, even if it is a different creative team. So yeah, because I always like to follow like the different students and teachers. Or I just like the setup it has of the X-Men have. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it. That's what I thought. Wolverine and X-Men number 42 before I start rambling on too long. But yeah, and I'll be coming back with Mass Effect. Mass Effect Foundation number 8, and my thoughts on that after this. Alright, I'm back to talk about the last book I read. Well, not the last book I read today, but the third and final book for this video, Mass Effect Foundation number 8. So yeah, just to recap, number 7 was basically Rasa and Kai Lang. They went to Pragia. Well, I'm not 100% sure it's Pragia, but I'm pretty sure it's Pragia to get Jack. It was pretty cool. She basically just like handed their asses to them, and they got like, you know, destroyed. It was great. It's just like it's just a fun read because like Jack is just going berserk and like destroying everybody. It's great. I loved it. And in this issue, it picks up in like Kai Lang and her having a discussion about it, and then Kai Lang's like, "Oh, you," because let's see what happens. I think like the elusive man calls him, and then she's like, "Yeah, we failed. The subject got away. Blah blah blah." And he's like, "Do you know what you just done? You just threw us both under the bus. He's gonna reassign us before we can. If we're lucky, he'll reassign us before we even land." And then, you know, they get to the Minuteman station, and then Miranda's there, and she's like, "All right, Lang, you go back on the shuttle, and Agent Dawkins is going to take you to see the elusive man. Rasa, you come this way." And it's really cool what happens. Like, she goes into like this room, and like they have a project, or the Lazarus project set up, and then she's like, "Yeah, this is all the intel you've been giving us so far over the course of like all these, you know, issues I've been reading. Like, you know," she's like, "all this intel you've been giving us is really valuable, blah blah blah, and like helping us with the stuff we need on Shepard." And it's cool because you get to see something that you've never seen before, and but it's not what you think it is. So it's like you think it is what you think it is, but then they reveal it to be something else. So it's like they go to this what would this be called? It's basically like a tube filled with fluid, and then like someone's body's in it, and you can only see like the head and the hands, so you don't know what gender they are. But you see it, and then Ross is like, "Is that ?" And then Miranda's like, "Commander Shepard," and then she's like, "How'd you restore the body so quickly?" And then Miranda's like, "Actually, that's a clone." And she's like, "Oh, a clone." So it's like, "Oh, you thought it was Shepard, but it's not. It's just a clone." Oh, but it's cool because then it ties into the Citadel DLC, and there's a lot of that stuff like even more later on in this issue. So that's pretty cool. And then, but then like there's also like this giant screen with all this stuff on it. And she's like, "Yeah, this is everything we know about Shepard, and we've been using to rebuild him, but we're not done. We need more." And she's like, "Okay, so I'm giving you this objective to sneak in to the Spectre offices on the Citadel and get this data." Because she's like, well, she basically gives her a data disk with like stuff on it about Cerberus, but it also has like a virus to infect the Spectre computers. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. It has stuff about Cerberus on it, and then she's like, "Okay, give this to the Spectre, our Spectre contact, and then that we're gonna set you up with, and then they should like take you into the Spectre offices, and then when they take you into the Spectre offices, that's your time to extract the data." And so it turns out to be Tela Vasir from the Shadowbreaker DLC. Surprise, surprise. And then and it's funny because like they meet on the Presidium, and she's like, "All right, I got the data, but it's not safe here." So I was like, "Well, you're on the Presidium. That's like the safest place on." Or I thought it was cool that they did that, since, you know, it's like, you know, not everything's what it seems sometimes in Mass Effect, where it's like, you know, it's a bit seedier and darker. So it's like maybe, you know, the Presidium's not exactly the safest place. And she's like, "All right, well, I'll take you to the Spectre offices." And so she does that, and then she takes the disc from Rasa to go and get the data, and then Rasa takes her chance to like go and hack the computer in the room to get the data. But before she can finish, the doors open, and Vasir comes back with like two armed dudes, or two dudes with Avengers or assault rifles. And she's like, "Oh crap, I got caught." and there's basically just this long scene of like Tela Vasir trying to like cut a deal with her to where she'll you know be a double agent for them within Cerberus, or she'll like, you know, send her to prison for the rest of her life. And then, she also says, we have your DNA, we have your prints. I can basically, since I'm a Spectre, make it so that you walk anywhere in Council space, which is basically everywhere except for, I think, the Terminus systems. And it's like, you're a wanted person, and you'll be, taken off the streets and put into jail. It's like, so if you just spy for me and you go back to Cerberus with this data disk I'm going to give you, and give it to them, and it'll infect their computers with the virus, and then I will know that you would not have lied. However, until that happens, if that doesn't happen, then I will know that you've gone back on the deal, and therefore I will make you a wanted criminal and make this like the worst, or make your life a living hell from now on. So it's like, oh, that was really cool what happened. Like I liked how it was like, it looked like it was just gonna be like a run of the mill. I'm gonna get the data, go back to Cerberus, everything's cool, but complete curveball, and like Televasir's trying to just like, not only she's trying to cut a deal with her, she's just being she's very there's a word I can't think of, but like, she's using her Spectre authority with yeah, she's like using it over Rasa, like, I can do things this way, or I can do these things that way. Like, how are we gonna have this work out? And so she gives her the discs, and then she's like, and then Ross is like, you're not giving me much of a choice. And then Televasir's like, well, there's always a choice. Just be sure you make the right one. And then she's like, we're monitoring your communications while you're still on the station, so be smart in what you say, or we might bad things could happen. And so she's at a bar on the Citadel drinking, and then she gets a comm message like, where you at, blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, getting the data was harder than expected. But then she like drinks her drink, and she notices there's something in it, and she's like, crap, I have to go. And then she's like losing consciousness slowly as she's like walking through the Citadel. And then she ends up on the Presidium, I think. Yeah, she's on the Presidium. A Turian finds her, and she's like, she tells the Turian, I've been drugged, I've been poisoned, and he doesn't believe her, and he's like, yeah, sure you have. And then she like loses consciousness, and she hears a voice, and because wait, what happens? Okay, hold on. Yeah. There's like a voice that comes in, and it's like, because the Turian's like, is she with you? And the voice is like, yes, officer, I apologize. I'll take her from here. And then the Turian's like, next time she's going to jail. And then the voice is like, there won't be a next time. I'll make sure of it. And then and then Ross is like, do I know you? Who are you? What's your name? And then the voice is like, no, you don't know me. And then Ross is like, please, I was just doing what I was being paid to. Why is this happening? And the voice is all, sometimes things happen beyond our control. And then it reveals that it's Thane talking to her, which is weird, because it's like, I'm trying to think, did they never work for Cerberus? But I guess he might have if he was an assassin. I mean, that's what happens, like, they take contracts, so that makes sense, but whatever. But then he has, like, a blade, not a gun, so I'm like, that was interesting, but, I don't know, I just thought it was weird, because, like, on the cover it has Thane and Rasa, but it kind of felt like it was a deceptive cover of, like, well, Thane's, like, barely in the, like, he's only in this one part when he's, like, talking to her, and then she's like, my life can't end like this, because I haven't been able to live my life. And then Thane, like, I guess he was like the assassin that they hired, that Vasir hired to kill her, because I guess she noticed that the data didn't come back as, like, or she didn't, like, I don't know. I'm kind of confused on, like, why this went down, or because it's like she hadn't gone back to Cerberus to give them the virus, so, but maybe because she was being so apprehensive of leaving, they did that. I don't know. But yeah, Thane decides to not kill her, and then he says a prayer, and he's like, Kalihira, guide her through the dark and show her how to live her life. And I guess he just, like, dumps her off somewhere in the Citadel where she can, like, go back to Cerberus. But it's cool, because she has, like, this dream sequence. Well, it's not really a dream sequence, but, like, while she's unconscious, she basically, there's, like, this big splash panel, which is pretty cool, because it's, like, all the adventures basically she's had so far, you've been, like, reading since issue 1, so, like, the Trek's there. It's like the lady from the first issue that, like, well, I'm not gonna say what happens if you haven't heard, and, like, the other video I did, but, like, that was cool. and it's got like Miranda there, Kai Lang, and Televasir, the Citadel, all this cool stuff, and a Biotic, which might be, I don't think that's Kaiden though, because anyway, but yeah, all the stuff that she's been through like so far is pretty cool. And then she wakes up back on the Minuteman station, and Miranda's there, and she's like, Rossa, are you alright? And then she's like, yeah, I got the data, but it's bad. And then Miranda's like, that's okay. This is just what I need. And then it ends basically with Miranda and Lucid Man talking, and then he's like, so was the intel that we got from the Spectres good? And Miranda's like, yep, and I was able to stop the virus before it was able to get our systems, and I even got some credits, blah blah blah. And then Lucid Man's like, well, if they're suspicious about our interest in Shepard before, they will be now. Project Lazarus needs to be a success, Agent Lawson. And then, okay, then it's really cool, because they start talking about like stuff that's related to the like Mass Effect 2 and to like the Citadel DLC, because like Miranda goes, I assume that the clone project is no longer a priority. And then the Lucid Man says, you may continue to use the clone for testing, but I want Shepard. And then Miranda says, and Agent Rasa? And then the Lucid Man's like, what about her? And then Miranda says, aside from the fact that someone tried to kill her? And then Lucid Man says, yes, that was troubling. I assume she'll survive. And Miranda goes, yes. But her cover's blown. The Spectre made sure of that. She'll never work in the field again. And then the Lucid Man says, we anticipated as much, but don't worry, I have a purpose for her. Shepard will need a team, and I want to make sure we get the very best for the commander. And it's cool, because it has like this hologram, and he's like using his hand on it, whatever, and you can like see the like all the different squad mates from Mass Effect 2, because it has Thane, it has Zaid, it's got Morden, Jack, Kasumi, Rex, but then it's got like 2 humans on it, and I'm like, who are they? Because, you know, there's only like Kaiden and Zaid, but I guess they're still like whittling down the candidates. And the top left looks like it might be a Turian, so maybe Garrus, I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was weird how there's like multiple human dudes, but I was like, well, those aren't Jacob. And one looks like Zaid, but there's only those 2, so yeah, I don't know who those other people are. But then it was also cool how it just like hints at the stuff that's, you know, how this ties in, I guess, to Mass Effect 3 is like with like the Citadel DLC stuff, with like the, you know, how you can like run tests on the clone. So I'm wondering like if they ever got to a point where it was beyond using like what was said in the Citadel DLC, like for spare organs or whatnot, and like they actually like put them into like the field test to like see how the clone could perform in like field tests or something, or like drills or some sort of like actual combat situations, and like if we'll ever see that in the in like Foundation, if like I don't know, because I don't know where this is going. Like it seems like it's just going to tie into, you know, Project Lazarus and then Shepard, and then I don't know. Like, well, we already know what happens. So I'm just interesting. I'm just like wondering like what angle is it going to take as far as, you know, how will this end? Because I think there's only like what, 13 issues in this series. So let me go back to the beginning. Hold on. It says on like the second page, number 7 of, or number 8 of 13. So you have 5 issues left. I'm wondering how it will end or where it's going to go. But I did enjoy it. The Jack issue was really good too. So that was nice. Just seeing like Jack rip through a Cerberus squad with like full biotics, that was fun. But yeah, I guess that's it for this week's comics I'm going to be talking about in this comic book talk. If I'd recommend something, I'd say, I guess Wolverine and X-Men. That's a nice, you know, wrap-up issue. You don't really have to like be too in the know of what's been going on. So I'd say, yeah, that's my pick of the week. Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know, it seems to be going a bit slower than I'd like it to be. They haven't even like started the trial yet, so it's already like part 4 of 6. So I mean, come on, there's like 2 more parts. The trial's like just getting started at the very end. So yeah. Ooh, I'm almost at 40 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the time and I'm like, ooh, that's a lot longer than I expected it to be. Whatever. But yeah, that's it for this video. And what I've been reading, or my three books on the top of my stack. Well, that were not super spoilery, like Uncanny Avengers. So yeah, but yeah, that's it for this video. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share it with your friends or not. That's cool too. And until you see or hear from me again, I'm now signing off. Thanks for watching.